Hi friends, it's your art teacher, Miss Barnett, and in this week's lesson called Imagine That, we've been looking at the artwork of Jean Miro and learning about how he created fantastical creatures by using everyday objects and making surreal or super real, unusual, it's another word for unusual artwork. So today we're going to create our own bird. We're going to create our own imaginary bird. And I want you to think about a couple of things before we get started. Are you ready? So I wanted you to notice that sometimes Jean Miro, when he creates shapes, he makes new shapes by filling in color with spaces where lines are crossing. So we could do that today, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to show you today how to vary your thickness in line by creating different pressure and how you're holding the marker to create lines. And then I want you to create a setting for your bird. It could be real or imaginary. Now, birds have many different parts. So here's a picture, and we're going to look at all the parts of the bird that you might want to include on your drawing. So it has a head, a beak. Sometimes if it's long and narrow, esta lengua y delgado, esta called a bill, like ducks have bills. They have a breast. They have legs and feet. They also have a tail. Their bodies are made out of feathers and not hair. They have a wing and they have an eye. So there's a couple of pieces here we might want to consider. So we'll make a list of all the parts up on the board so we don't forget this. And we're also going to need to think about adjectives. Adjectives are describing words. Things like skinny, fat, long, short, wavy, straight, polka dotted, blended. Colors are adjectives. So we'll make a list of adjectives too at the end of this video. So what I want to show you now is how to use our markers in new ways. So I'm going to show you and we'll get started. Here we go. All right, friends, so we're going to do a little practice together, and I'm going to show you how to make different types of line thicknesses by how we hold the marker. So if we want to make a skinny line, we can just use the tip. A thicker line, we can use the side. And if you want to go thick to thin or thin to thick, you can go like that and then change where you're holding it. You might want to blend this together a little bit more. Let's go thick to, we did thin to thick, let's go thick to thin. And then we just kind of ease up. Good. So different pressure matters too. If we press lightly versus when we press dark or heavier. So practice with your markers, holding it and changing how the marker, where the marker is touching the paper, and you can get all kinds of different lines. Practice that and we'll get started making our bird. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that there's many different types of birds. So I got this book from Miss Fiaschetti in the library, and we'll just take a peek. So birds have different shaped bodies. Some are ground birds, some fly, some are small, some are large, some have super long legs. You can think about their feathers. Some have beautiful colored feathers like a peacock, others are gray and brown. Birds live in different climates, like parrots live in the tropics, penguins live in the Arctic. So think about what kind of bird you want to make. Remember, we're making an imaginary bird, so we're going to kind of mix and match these guys. So this book will be in the room if you need it for some inspiration. And let's get started. You can watch me start working now. Here we go. All right, friends, here is my completed imaginary bird drawing project. I hope you have just as much fun using your imagination and combining different birds and making up your own bird. Don't forget to include a setting. I included a jungle setting in mine. You could make up a real place or an imaginary place. I cannot wait to see how these turn out. They're going to be so beautiful. Let's get started.